Hello, I'm Dale Matthews, and joining me is Mike Jones, and we also have Colleen Roberts. She's the new commissioner, the new girl on the block over in Jackson County, and we'll be grilling her to a nice toasty consistency. And then, no, I'm not going to go any further with that analogy. Hello, Colleen.
Hi there.
Great. Well, I'm glad that you
Looks
could
like
join us.
there.
Yes, 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 right here.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Good, good. Okay, so it's so far to Jackson County, as they say, it's twice as far from Medford to Grants Pass as it is the other way. So the first question I'd ask you is, there are a lot of similarities, there truly are, between Josephine County and Jackson County. We all have got a pretty good idea, a list in our minds of what the similarities are. So what would you say would be the difference between item number 3 and item number 4?
What was number three on for?
I told her ahead of time I was going to ask a silly question so she could hit me
Yes.
between the eyes with it, and she's taking it seriously. Colleen, this is both a news show and Mike keeps calling it a comedy show. So forget
Yes.
the first question. That was
Well,
just
I knew the answer. I'd certainly give it to you.
that's okay. I know you would. Okay, I did tell her ahead of time, so I wasn't blindsiding her. That's okay. You will never be one of the old boys. As we saw with Sandy Casanelli here, and I know you like Sandy, as we saw with Sandy here, you'll never, literally, you'll never be one of the old boys. And you knew that going in. So have you seen anything to change your mind about that?
No, that's what I campaigned on. I always said, I am not one of the good old boys, and I'm not. And it is an exciting challenge. It's been fun.
Colleen, you're going to tell us this is an exciting challenge. Come on, you can level with this. It's not always exciting, right? It's a little frustrating from time to time, isn't it? Come on, be honest. Tell us candidly.
I am. I've had a ball. It's been really a blast. Um, it's been fun and challenging. Maybe I just thrive on challenges and complications. I don't know, but I've had a ball with it.
Before you came
Okay.
into office,
So
go ahead, Mike.
no. Go ahead, Dale.
Well, before you came into office, Colleen, we've all seen, I'm still getting a little feedback, Mike. We all have seen the video of when you went before the commissioners and it looked like the county manager, whatever that guy's name is, was just trying to hand you your head, and now you're one of the commissioners. So has he changed his tune and now he's suddenly conciliatory toward you?
Well, it's definitely different, I suppose, on this side. But yeah, we work together pretty good. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but we all, I say my piece and not shy about speaking my opinion. And but it's been really pretty wonderful. The staff we work with is fabulous. I really have no complaints.
No, I wasn't disappointed at all. I was just saying that we could see how rude he was to you as a citizen, and now suddenly he's not rude to you anymore. That's interesting.
Well, our citizens, though, it has been my adamant point that our citizens are treated well and fair and pleasant. And if you watch our videos of our commissioner meetings, it is exactly what's happened. And that was an important point for me in office, that they are who elect us and who we work for, and being on the other end of it. And I'm not sure where all that came from, if it came from previous boards or what, but I just am really pleased about how our citizens have been treated since I've been on the board, and I hope to continue that.
Yeah. Okay. Um, When I was first deciding what kind of profession to go into, I was a physics major with a sideline of journalism, and making my very first film, it was a film. I went up an airplane, never been in a small airplane before, and my partner and I decided to do a film about a college we were going to, and it was about their public relations campaigns and what they do. It seemed like a nice fluffy piece, and there was no reason to do anything that was tough. And we went to the editor of the local newspaper and told him that the head of public relations at the college described his job as a Shangri-La situation. At which point the editor of the local newspaper said, that's it. I'm never going to put up with this again. He wasn't mad at us. He said, let me tell you about the public relations director at College of the Redwoods, and he unloaded on us. And from then on, when everybody talks about things in superlatives, I invariably refer to it as a Shangri-La situation.
Yes.
Well, I'm assuming that Colleen is new in this situation, and it hasn't really hit the fan yet. I know that if you are, I'm not sure how to put it. Let's call it counterculture in our community here. That would be like a Sandy Casanelli on the board with any two of the current remaining board members. There would be fireworks on a weekly basis. And I'm assuming that the situation is somewhat similar in terms of ideology.
I suppose as we move on through, like I said when I campaigned, I said, I may not, I may be a lone stand, which I'm comfortable with, but at least they'll hear another side of things. And, I may make some progress, and I may just be the lone voice, but I'll have the voice, it's the voice of the people that want something that's a smaller, more efficient government. And so that's what I'm striving for. And like say, as the months roll on, it may change and more issues will be coming at us. So, probably should talk to me in a couple more months.
Well, going in, of course, in order to campaign, you need to be fairly up on what the issues are in Jackson County. What are some of the issues to which people refer in Jackson County? The things that are seeming to concern people. Go ahead.
I think we just lost her.
Yeah.
If I recognize that sound, that is the sound of the phone hanging up.
I did sort of feel like we were having a disconnect here, Mike.
Yes. All right. Well, this is live radio, folks, or live TV. So now we're gonna have to dial her up again here.
Okay.
All right. So
this is radio, and this is television. You're using a dial-up line.
Please hang up and try again.
Yeah. Come on, Mike, hang up and try again.
I was just going to do that. So I'm going to take you out of the loop on this so that you don't have to listen to it, and entertain the folks with a poem or a short song.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much for that introduction. Well, I will tell you a nice poem that I know. It's called I Miss Her Sometimes. I ran into my old girlfriend the other day, and then I backed up and ran over her again. I miss her sometimes. There's nothing misogynistic about this. I'm just making a silly poem for you. Okay, so one time I'm in the National Zoo. I'm in the National Zoo with my lady friend, my girlfriend at the time, and we're looking at the snakes, the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. We're looking at the snakes. And there's a sign in front of the snakes, and it says, "Bears live young." Bears live young. Bears live young? I'm telling you the truth, but this is a spontaneous story. And my girlfriend says, well, why does it say bears live young and we're in the snake house? And another person came up hearing us talk, which sometimes happens with Mike and I and other people. Yeah, why does it say that? And the daughter of some visitor said, Daddy, is that true? I mean, even if it was in front of the bears, do bears really live young? What does that mean, bears live young? And now we've gathered a small crowd of people. Bears live young, and I'm laughing and laughing. I go, what's this guy laughing about? It's not funny. Is it true that bears live young? But I don't understand what this means. And I look at everybody and I said, it says, instead of laying eggs, that the snake bears live young.
Right. Well,
Daddy
Colleen is back.
Oh, good. Is it true that, Colleen, that bears live young?
It sounds like it.
They do.
That's how rumors get started.
Yes.
Yeah.
I lost connection with you.
Yeah, that's
I was starting to feel that same way, Colleen. So come and rescue.
No, I tried to call you back, of course, your line's busy.
Right, because we're talking about you behind your back. So
I know. That has been nice.
So what is it that the voters of Jackson County will see now that's different about Colleen Roberts as a county commissioner?
Well, I think the first thing we see is what we just were talking about, and that's the treatment of the citizens. And I am adamant about our citizens being where their voice is, where it's supposed to be at the helm, and it's respected. And that has already happened. We've had some really much different culture of environment. I feel. And maybe it's just my side, but I hope the citizens feel it too, where they are heard, they are listened, and they're part of the process. And that's probably one of my most important things, because that's what makes it a government formed by the people, not formed by government. But I think my biggest challenge will be that I do want small government, and I find I'm working in a government situation that they do what government does, and that's tax, regulate, and control, and wants more. And I feel the commissioners are that cushion for the people to help control that, process that's well in action.
Yeah, we notice over in Josephine County, they don't seem to miss another opportunity to spend more money, even though we appear to be, or they tell us all the time, they constantly remind us, so we're going over the cliff, we're about to hit the wall, we're hanging by our fingernails, for crying out loud. And yet they always seem to find 50, 60 grand to hire some new guy or have some new project. And I think it's going to be difficult when you're sitting on a board with a bunch of people. I mean, now you're in a club that's different than the club that you were in before, because this club spends money and does things that government does. So you're going to feel like you're way on the outside if you're opposing, some new spending that you think is frivolous. How are you going to deal with that when that happens?
Well, and I think it will happen, not if, that's for sure. And as I have kind of been working through some of the processes we've been dealing with, I feel I need to gather their lingo. It's what they understand. They understand RSs and ordinances, and develop my argument within the criteria they work in. And I think it'll be my challenge as a debater to present that, at least to one other commissioner, to try to make a point to limit what's going on. And it's what's so exciting about my job. I am so excited to do that.
Now, wait a minute. You're going to use logic to convince your fellow commissioners? We have tried that here, and it's a novel concept.
I think logic is what we all try to do as citizens, but an argument based within the realm of terms they understand, that's how I've seen them put forth their changes. And I think that's how I want to put forth our limitations, and to develop, solid arguments based within the realm that they can kind of convey in. But I'm learning their lingo. So so I can you know, stand firm for the citizens. That's for sure.
Well, the last time that we saw
Oh,
you, the last
we'll
time
see how
we
I do that. I'm not
okay.
sure.
The last time that we saw you in Josephine County in one of our videos, you were explaining why you were disappointed in the fact that they had started up, what was it, a special kind of health club or something that was just for county employees, and you recall that issue. What was the result of that? That argument that you made from the floor didn't go very far.
Well, they already had put it in. It is it's not a health club, but it's a health clinic, I guess, just for a certain group of county employees, and others have joined it, I guess. I'm learning what the ins and outs are of it, but yeah, I did object to it, and I still do feel that county employees don't need anything special than what the citizens get. You know, it is something I don't. There's a lot of things I don't approve of in government, and we'll see how I can limit what I can limit, that's for sure. But it is something that was already put in before I got there.
Well, the second story that we ever did on BadCounty.com was called $61,000 apiece for transit bus fare boxes. $61,000 apiece, and that's where you are. They're not
For
really
what?
gold. They're not gold plated, are they?
For what? Transit what?
Transit bus fare boxes, $61,000 apiece.
In other words,
Really? I don't remember hearing that one.
yeah, it's the box that when you step on the bus, you put your coins in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, fare box.
Well, it better count them, give you
Wow.
change, and
I've
give
heard
you
of it. I got to
a
tune into
shoe
your
shine.
show.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Okay, there you go. That's right. So, well, Mike.
Well, you know what? So, how many trips does the bus have to take? How many years or how many months does the bus have to be in operation with a $60,000 fare box to start making a profit?
For each bus. And it doesn't communicate with the headquarters, and it doesn't make change. I mean, you would think for that kind of price, it better shine my shoes.
Yes, for sure. I have. That's first I've heard of that. When did that go in?
Well, that was 2 years ago.
Oh wow, that was before I was really. That was I was getting started watching what they're doing, but boy, that one's passed me by.
Okay, let me ask you about O&C. Certainly, you guys have the same dilemma that we have: is you're not getting money that they promised.
Right.
And so, what's your angle to deal with that? The way we kind of look at it here is that this is a broken contract, and a broken contract. In my mind, if somebody breaks a contract with you, you don't have to hold up your end of it either. And I understand that in government you may be looking at it a little bit differently. But how is Jackson County dealing with that O&C issue, and what's your angle on it?
Well, we're probably dealing with it the same way every other county is, trying to figure out the best way to get our lands back. I've been to several of the Ken Ivory, the land transfer meetings, and I think they have everybody's trying to, chomp away to get what is rightfully the state's back west here. And I think we are deserving of, and just to manage our lands. You look what happened down to Weed, and to lose a whole city because of forest fire. See our profits burn up instead of manage. This doesn't make any sense at all. And then a judge, last summer ordered the lands to be harvested, and that hasn't happened either. So, to defy a judge's order seems a little bit in the face, not to mention the contract of the O&C Act to be broken. And like I say, just a month in, I don't have the answers, but we sure are striving like every other county and state to manage our forests, and they need managed.
Well, one of the things that we get criticized for, Mike and I and other people get criticized, oh, you're pointing out all the problems and where are the solutions. At least somebody is pointing out the problems. You're not going to see that in the Daily Courier on KJO radio. So at least we're doing that, and we're doing it for free. And we pay.
Well, and I appreciate the citizens' input. I loved it as a citizen. I think that's where the issues are pointed out and the passion of people is presented. And as a commissioner, I want the same. I want the people there. I want their voices heard, and I want to be working with them to get the resolutions we need, because we have to work together. It's not a one-man job or one-woman job. It's all of us working together to get the solutions.
My point on that was, thank you. My point on that was that what we say is that, well, we've got like $1 million of salaries of people who were elected saying that they had answers. All right, let's see the answers. Now you're going to be one of those people. You are one of those people. That might be a challenge.
The answer. I say I'll work with the people.
Okay.
That's for sure. I'm working with the citizens, not working just for the government side. And that's, I think, what's lacking in so much of our government. And the people are not feeling represented. And we're back to the people issue again.
Right. I would think, though, now, as one of those people that feels like they're not being adequately represented, I want to see some things get done in a counter direction. Because I've seen so much of it, so much spending, so much, mismanagement, and so you want to see it start rolling back in the other direction. It must be very difficult and frustrating because you're kind of in a minority position. There's a limited amount that you can get done in terms of, rolling back some of the insanity stuff.
And it will be slow. It won't roll back fast. I realize that. But it's got to start making a turn. It has to. People cannot afford more government. And I don't feel necessarily a minority. I feel well supported by people that backed me to get there, and they are with me at the meetings. They are there with ideas and research and help, and that helps. That just makes it just so worthwhile. Whether we make progress, it'll be. I mean, I'm great if it'd be fast. That would be the best scenario, but I don't necessarily see that way government works. But I plan to make my mark. Maybe in a couple months we can meet again and we can see what, if there's been some strides that have taken a turn for the better. But which is less government, it's just less of what we got.
Well, one of the things that you've said that you've noticed is that the people are treated better now that you're in office. Do you think that the people, or at least the commissioners of Jackson County, are aware that on a routine basis we have commissioners here who call us terrible names, who threaten to throw us out of meetings, who've actually called the police, and the police left going, what was that, on completely made-up rules? And the rumor goes around that we're tearing the place down and gnawing on the furniture and yelling out expletives, when the person who comes closest to that is actually Keith Heck.
Oh,
do you guys know about this?
Yeah, yours, but that's too bad. You need to. I just feel that the leadership makes all the difference in the world in how the people are treated, and I'm excited to be part of that change. And it has changed, I feel, in Jackson County. Maybe you should interview a citizen that attends the meetings to verify, but I feel it's, I would not ever let a citizen be mistreated in our meetings. That is just a priority. That's just humanity, we're all in this together, and I'm certainly not any more important than anybody else.
One of the things that we've seen that's a difference, and this year versus previous years, is that it used to be economic development is a hot issue here. It should be, I think, any place, is that you used to take 100% 100% of economic development money, which we think of as creating full-time family wage jobs, and you gave it to the library. One, you don't do that anymore, and are there still people who feel that's the best use of economic development money?
Well, we have a library district. We passed in Jackson County, so that isn't what happens for us now, thank goodness. But I just think, of course, the buzzword is economic development. I went to a few meetings this week, and they say how much they've got to, we've got to get new business in, and we do, but we've got to retain business. And that is very important to me, to retain businesses that are leaving or closing. And I'm a business owner, and I do have a passion for business retention, not just getting in new. And I'm excited to see what you guys have coming in Grants Pass. There's a lot of business, seems like, that I hear about that you guys are gaining strides in.
Well, one of these days we might actually see that as we're driving up and down the streets. As Cheryl Walker has pointed out, don't be looking at all those boarded up buildings. Why, there's economic prosperity everywhere where you look. You just can't see it.
Yeah, we have a lot of businesses closing too, and in fact, Dairy Gold just announced they were closing, and I just want to get a hold of them and say, what can we do to help you? Because we want them to stay. We want business to stay in Jackson County, and it's as important as new business is, in my mind.
Well, to me, this is a simple formula because it comes down to dollars and cents. And when it costs too much for somebody to continue to do business, then they're going to close. And if they're doing poorly, and then you add another layer of regulation or another tax or another, like Obamacare can't be helping them out. I mean, if you're on the edge and they drop that on top of you, you have more than 50 employees, and you have to, the employer mandate is part of your burden, then you may well go out of business. And so I personally thought the best use for economic development money, if government is going to be in charge of economic development in some way or another, is just go, hey, listen, we're handing out free permits until they're gone, and then you get some stuff rolling, you get construction happening, you get that to me is how you stimulate it. Coming up with some government program that is supposed to kick off some economic development, like over here, they say they're going to pour some wheelchair ramps, and that's going to give us 214 full-time family wage jobs.
After the ramps are put in.
After they're done, so which is obviously just mumbo jumbo, and that's what you get when government is in charge of economic development. Get out of the way.
Yeah, I agree. Government doesn't create jobs, that is for sure, and that is what I've said all along. If government gets out of the way, people are innovative, and they will create work and jobs. So, I think there's a lot of neat out-of-the-box ways to think of economic development, and it'll be fun to see what we can come up with, because, I don't know what the issue is with Dairy Gold, and I haven't talked with them yet to see why they would be closing a plant, and maybe just be a business decision. I do not know, but to have a big business, and they have like 30 employees. It is important in a small community, in our little communities like we have, and I don't take any business closing lightly at all. So we need to keep them, that's for sure.
Both counties put money into the Job Council. And when we first started going to Job Council meetings, I said to Fong, who was in charge of it, I said, could you let us know, we all know that you don't create the jobs, you create the atmosphere in which the jobs are possible. Can you give us some feedback about what bang we're getting for our buck? Because there obviously must be some kind of goals. Give us an idea, if you will, please, sir. What are the, how many full-time family wage jobs have you helped create? And he said, well, I'm not prepared to answer that question. I said, but you're the Job Council. So when we went back a year later, we weren't very welcome, but I said, let me ask you a question. Yes, Dale Matthews. we know that you don't create the jobs, you know, blah, 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 but how many full-time family wage jobs, you've had a year to think about it, how many of you have you helped create? And he said, well, I'm not really prepared to answer that question at this time. When we went back to third year, he didn't want to answer the question, and what they made clear is that they no longer, the Job Council, no longer helps people find full-time family wage jobs or any kinds of jobs at all. Now they take retired foresters, have got 3 fingers, and they teach them how to use a keyboard, so they're going to get a high-tech job in the computer programming industry.
Oh, wow. Huh.
They've allied them. They've allied themselves with the unemployment office, so that when anybody walks into the unemployment office, it's a ding on the bell for the Job Council. So a pregnant lady walks in, ding, ding, right? But you still give them money.
What's that?
You still give them money, not you personally, but, well, maybe you do. But both counties still give them money. What do you expect from the Job Council?
Yeah, well, the Job Council, as from what I understand, is going away, and it's something, a new program that's under Governor Kitzhaber called Workforce something. They just renamed it because they couldn't afford their operation. So that's the latest news I've heard on the Job Council. But I do not, you know, like say that's our economic development money at work, and I'm not sure who they're accountable to. But like I say, I got to figure out all the players and the departments. I don't have that all figured out, and what's measurable, you know. And I guess that's what I will hold myself accountable to. Things I pass, it better have measurable outcomes, or it's not worth that, you know, doing the money on it. And that was one of my complaints as a citizen. You're taking this grant money and you're doing this. What's the measurable outcome? And I think without having any, it's just a waste of taxpayer money at whatever level the money comes in at.
Colleen, before we go, tell us, if you will, please, about your fond or not so fond feelings about working with So Ready.
Actually, So Ready, I went to their conference actually Thursday, and they had a business conference, and I haven't had to work with them directly. In fact, it's not one of the departments I'm direct liaison with, but I am interested in economic development. I'm not sure how they're going to come through with what they've promised, but I know our county is probably as well as your county is giving them a lot of money, and it's another thing I will monitor what the measurable outcome is of the investment we've put in with the taxpayer money. And I just think that is what we need to be accountable to for any funds we have out there, any department, if, you know, for the people's money as a accountability.
Well, if you'll give Mike and I an opportunity here for just a minute, we're going to talk about you behind your back.
All right.
So, Mike, a lot of people were very excited about the fact that Colleen Roberts was elected to office, and they had hoped that she would monitor things like economic development and see how well they're doing, and I guess we're going to have to monitor her.
Right. Well, you know what? I'm hopeful anytime there is a little bit of counterculture happening inside government, because that means that there is some hope that some sanity will filter through, and you know, I'm big in favor of people serving as opposed to people getting in there and becoming part of what government is, and you know, getting into that mindset to where they're a politician. And I know, I mean, it's a danger for every politician that's in there to have that happen to them, because you are living inside a different culture there. You know, people who are having their salaries paid by the public, and they get used to that, and it feels good and whatever. So it's I just hope that we can remain who we are while we're doing our public service, and I have high hopes for Colleen Roberts.
Colleen, now you stay 99 and 2/100% pure, would you please?
It's my goal.